Hey guys, what is up? This is my second video, and today I just want to show you a deck that I built. It's a modern deck, so let's just skip intros and get right into it. My gosh. Okay. There we go. Alright, so I also like these card sleeves. I'm a fan of the dragon shields, if you know what those are. They just feel really nice and have a nice shuffle feel to them. Alright, let's get into the deck. So the first concept that I came up with is I am more of a blue player, so I do like casting spells and stuff like that. So I like to build decks based on that. So for that, I have this Crackling Drake that I found, and I thought it would be really good for this deck. So I'm not sure how many Crackling Drakes I would want yet. So his ability is his power and his total number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. So what I did was, my deck is consumed of all these card draw spells that I am going to use. There's many different ones, but each one lets me just power it up while also at the same time looking for my Crackling Drake. So by the time my Crackling Drake appears, I can pretty much win the game with him. So I got this guy, and the card draw spells I have. Obviously I have Opt. It's a standard draw card spell, pretty good. And I have found a Thought Scour, and I also have a Sleight of Hand, which I thought was pretty cool. So, and I have a Careful Study. I'll draw 2 cards and discard 2, so a lot of variety with that one. And then probably 2 of my most favorite ones that help you find this guy a lot faster. These are pretty much to build up the graveyard, but then these 2 right here are Ponder, which lets you rearrange your deck. You can shuffle your deck if you want. And then this one is Shimmer of Possibility. You can look at the top 4 cards and change the order, which helps you out a lot. I'm thinking about running 4 of each of these. That way my deck, as soon as my opening hand starts out, I don't have this guy in my hand. So if I end up with this guy in my first draw, it won't be a very effective deck. So I'm going to put 4 of each of these to make sure that I have draw card spells in my hand. And after that, the spells that I thought would be good for a blue deck is counter spells. So the counter spells that I found were Remove Soul. Since it's mostly about my creature, I'm thinking, yeah, counter target creature spell is really good. And this one also, Psychic Barrier, but in return the player loses a life for casting a spell. And this one, it also fits really well with my deck because it has Spell Mastery. What Spell Mastery is you can, if there are 2 or more instant or sorcery cards in your graveyard, you can copy the spell that you countered, and then you can choose new copies for it. So that one is actually really good. And these, I'm not sure how many I want yet, but I still want them in my deck. Now I'm thinking about ending the game. So how do I end the game? I pretty much have this guy out. His power is pretty much off the charts when he comes out. And So I decided to put in some game finisher spells that build them up and also build them up at the same time. So I have Infuriate, which is a really good red spell. So I added red into this deck because of Crackling Drake, obviously. Infuriate, so he gets another +1/+0 along with the +3/+2. And then there's also Uncaged Fury, so he gets +1/+0, plus also the +1/+1 and Double Strike, which is pretty much a game finisher. And this card I threw in because this card can pretty much make my creature unblockable, just in case, let's say my opponent has a flying creature, they can easily block it, but I can just play that, make it unblockable, and win the game. These, I think I only need like one, maybe per game I need one of these, so I think 3 of each of these cards is good enough. And along with the deck is the land. I also threw in a Temple of Epiphany, because you also get to scry if it enters the battlefield, which is good for my deck and good for finding my Crackling Drake. And after that, I got a bunch of islands and mountains. After that, I'm thinking I should add some creatures into this deck. So I chose some creatures that I thought would work well with it. First is Blister Coil Weird. Costs for 1 island or a mountain, which is really good. And whenever I cast a spell, it gets +1/+1, plus I can untap it. So let's say it's my opponent's turn, and I play a spell on their turn, and I can still untap him and use him as pretty much a chump blocker, which is what I'm thinking. And then I also have Electrostatic Field, a 0/4 awesome defender for 2. And whenever I cast a spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent, so it's also good for multiplayer. Then after that, I have the one of my favorite cards is the Arclight Phoenix. Has flying 3/2 for 4. And at the beginning of combat, if I cast 3 or more instant or sorceries, I can return it to the battlefield without a cost, which is really good and I like it very much. And after that, I would say every time I build a deck, I usually go off of one concept and then build off of that. Like this one, it's based around casting spells, so I based it around that. And I actually need to go to my Magic store and buy a couple more copies. Maybe I'll probably just buy copies online. So after that, that is my deck. And I hope you guys enjoyed, and leave a like, comment, subscribe. If not, then have a nice day.